There's tremendous interest in Buddhism in India today. Lots of the interest, of course, is generated by the presence of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Since coming into exile in India in 1959, Buddhism has really seen a resurgence of interest, not only in the refugee community, but also in border communities in the Himalayas, both up in Ladakh and Zanskar, Spiti, Kinnaur, Lahore, but also toward the east in Arunachal Pradesh and Bengal. Also, we've seen a revival of interest in Buddhism among the people in central India who belong to former untouchable castes, and also among Indian intellectuals. They may be Brahmins, they may be Hindus, but they also are very, very interested in Buddhism. It's part of their culture, right? So tourism has helped, Buddhist tourism. Pilgrims coming from Korea, Japan, Vietnam, San Jose, has helped to restore Buddhist sacred sites in India. There are now huge monasteries in these places like Bodh Gaya, Lumbini, Rajgir, Nalanda, Shravasti, Kushinagar, and so forth. They see millions of pilgrims every year. And I'm happy to say that there are now Buddhist temples started by nuns in many of these places too. So it means that Buddhist women are active in educating the pilgrims as they move around to visit the sacred sites, places where the Buddha was born, where he practiced, where he taught, where he died. And so this is a new opportunity for Buddhist women to take roles as teachers for people in India, over 1 billion people, many of whom are very interested in the Buddhist teachings. They consider it part of their own cultural heritage. It's nothing alien for them. They already understand the law of karma, cause and effect. They already accept many of the Buddhist teachings as part of their own background, their own social and cultural background. So this is a wonderful thing to see. So we have a sort of merging of interests of people from different parts of India meeting together in Bodh Gaya or Lumbini and sharing ideas. And this is where now we'd like to start a Buddhist institute for women in Bodh Gaya. At the moment, there is no project by and for Buddhist women in Bodh Gaya, which is the place where the Buddha achieved enlightenment. It's also where we held our very first Sakyadhita conference. So I think it's appropriate that we establish a facility there where Buddhist women pilgrims not only can stay, but can also study and can also practice. And we've got land. So we have 4 acres of land there. And we hope to build Sangamitra Institute, named after the daughter of Emperor Ashoka, who took the lineage of full ordination for women from India to Sri Lanka. She's highly respected, revered in Sri Lanka for her role in transmitting the Buddhist teachings to Sri Lanka. And in fact, Sangamitra Day is a national holiday in Sri Lanka. So once we get Sangamitra Institute established, we'll be able to run education programs and meditation programs and workshops for Buddhist women from all around the world. We can have programs in languages, right, where we can learn Pali and Sanskrit and Chinese and Japanese and Tibetan and English and other languages. And we can discuss Dharma in formal and informal settings, in long-term courses, short-term courses, and share our knowledge with each other, including topics such as conflict resolution and environmental awareness and child maternal health and so many different things. We often hear that Buddhism died out in India in the 11th century or something, but actually it's not completely true, because we find that pockets of Buddhists persisted or remained both in the Himalayan region over Ladakh, Zanskar, Kinnaur, Spiti, Lahore, and so forth. Also in eastern India, in Bengal, and also up in the mountains, the Mundhawang areas. We also find a huge community of Buddhists in central India. They're usually categorized as Dalits, or former so-called untouchables. Now, these people don't accept the term new Buddhists. They say, actually, we were Buddhists all along. And they had found themselves on the bottom of the caste hierarchy, and from 1956 began converting to Buddhism, or some of them believe reverting to Buddhism, thinking that they had been Buddhists all along, and that's why they found themselves on the bottom of the caste hierarchy. So under the leadership of Ambedkar, who was actually India's first law minister, and they converted in large numbers. Today there are about 10 million people in this community, and increasing all the time. So these people also have very difficult lives. Still, there are many caste prejudices in India. Although they do have reserved seats in the school system and in the government positions, but it's still not easy for them. Many of them live at the poverty level, and they don't all have opportunities for education. In fact, most of them are still illiterate today. Now, things are changing, though, as the younger generation gets more education. And education is more recognized as necessary both for girls and for boys. And so you see huge generational differences between the parents and the children. Now, we all know what that means, is that when the parents are not educated, the younger generation has a more difficult time. They don't have people to help them with their homework and so forth. But fortunately, due to these reservations, more and more of them are getting higher education, therefore they're moving into positions where they can get better jobs, therefore they can help to educate their children, and things are improving. They still are lacking Buddhist teachers. There are not nearly enough teachers of Buddhism to go around among these communities. Not in the Himalayas, not in Bengal, not in central India. We need thousands and thousands more well-qualified, well-trained teachers of Buddhism. And here's where I think Buddhist women can help. If Buddhist women can get better educated, both on a secular level, but especially in Buddhist studies, then they can serve as teachers for these people. Coincidentally, educated Buddhist nuns will never get the same opportunities that monks will get to travel to other countries. They simply won't be invited in the same numbers, but they will, I believe, very strongly go back to serve their communities, and that's a very important thing. It's already beginning to happen. I went to Israel on an interfaith exchange program sponsored by an organization known as the Elijah Institute. It is an effort to bring together scholars and practitioners from many different religious backgrounds to meet and discuss different topics. Now, this year's topic in Israel for my group was religious leadership. How can we create ethical, effective religious leaders today? And while I was there, I wasn't able to really visit too many Buddhist centers, but I know they're there. There are lots of Buddhist centers in Israel. And it shouldn't come as a surprise, because for years now, a lot of Israelis have been traveling to India. And in India, they become exposed to Buddhism, and many stay on to learn more. So for example, in Dharamsala, up at Tushita Meditation Center, hundreds and thousands of Israelis have participated in Buddhist meditation courses. They've learned meditation, they've learned basic Buddhist teachings. And then when they go back to Israel, they want to continue their studies and their practice. So they've begun inviting teachers from other countries to come to Israel and teach. I know, for example, Venerable Thupten Chudren, who's a very well-known Buddhist nun, American Buddhist nun, has been going for years to Israel, and I think her teachings have been very effective. Well, I haven't seen Unmistaken Child, but I know that there are many Buddhist filmmakers around, and there are also many Jewish filmmakers who have an interest in Buddhism. And so I think we'll be seeing more. In fact, I think people may be aware that some of the most famous Buddhist teachers today in the United States were actually born Jewish. And a lot of these teachers and also Buddhist practitioners, born Jewish, get interested in Buddhism, study and practice Buddhism, and then come back to Judaism through Buddhism, where they might have been secular before. Actually, they gain a greater appreciation of their own birth tradition, their own Jewish tradition, by learning more about Buddhism. So that's a very interesting development.